Hey, this is the weekly market update where we check out this week's action and see what that means going into the weekend and next week. If that's what you're into, stick around. All right, happy Friday, everyone. Interesting week. More news coming out of Iran and Israel, and I guess we had a 2 week extension for Donald Trump's willingness to, I guess, bomb a nuclear base with those bunker buster missiles. So keeping an eye on that. The market's pretty news oriented. It's going to go up or go down depending on what happens over there. We're still going to lean on our cycle analysis, and it's proving to be decent. So yeah, let's go check out what the market monitor has to say and see what's going on. The market monitor is a collection of data that I've taken over time. That, combined with established strategies by William O'Neill, Richard Wyckoff, and Stan Weinstein, I could use it to peer into the market to see where we're at in the cycle and where we could be going. I'm going to use this data to cross-reference the averages. So if this data is above average or below average, that should tell us something about where we're going and where we've been. By knowing that, we could set an expectation, and if that expectation is met or not met, we can make decisions based on that. And that's why the market monitor is a crucial part of my investing process. And I hope you guys can get a lot out of this segment. And if you want to know how the market monitor works, I'll link a video in the description below. It explains everything. Cheers. All right. So market monitor turned back to red. And so we are day one red. Market's down about 0.9 or 0.19% today. Average red cycle goes down about 2.11%. I'll show you guys later. I updated basically cycle forecast, and average red cycle lasts about 6.8 days. Looking for a little bit more downside here. A lot of the leaders and a lot of the good breadth stocks are getting hit today. And some of the stocks that I've been in, look to be topping, like the best stocks, like the uranium stocks. I actually sold some a little bit today, and I'll tell you guys about that later. But just some interesting things to note inside the market monitor. As you can see here, the VIX is still above 20. It's staying elevated here, and the market hasn't really cracked. So looking for something to happen there. 49 lower lows. And as you can see here, this is like the last couple days. We've just had we've had 4 days with the bearish combo above 500, above 450. So there's some definite distribution going on in the market. And we haven't really had a big crack day where the market goes down a lot. I mean, we had those couple days where it went down 1.1 or 0.9%, but, looking for maybe a 2% day here sometime in the near future. So let's move on to the stage analysis. So as you can see here, 17% of stocks are in stage 1, 47% of stocks are in stage 2, 8% of stocks are in stage 3, and 28% of stocks are in stage 4. And as you can see at the top, I take the average, the 16-period average of all the stage data, and it looks to be like the stage 4 has gone green and stage 2 has gone red. So breadth is shifting here, and it looks like the market wants to, pull back extensively. So we're going to monitor that going into next week. Moving on to the short-term indicators, where short-term momentum down is still ticking up higher. It's about 221, up from 214, and the TD sell is coming off. We're in a down wave, and it could potentially accelerate here and go to 300 plus. I mean, we're going to monitor it. So one thing I'm really getting a little concerned about, longer term here, is if you see this long-term breadth, this NY column, we're at 3.56. And typically when that goes negative, that signals a bear market. So monitoring that very closely, because, that's essentially the signal that we're going to enter a bearish market longer term. So We could, a couple videos back, like 2 months back, I was thinking that this was going to be a kind of a 2015 sort of analog, and the market monitor is kind of pointing to that, where we had this V-shaped recovery back to highs, and we could potentially be in for a decent pullback here. Now that pullback would be buyable, but yeah, just have to analyze and see how much this pullback hurts us, and hurts the breadth and that sort of thing. All right, so yeah, let's go check out the portfolio and see how we're doing. For those of you who don't know, I've been an investor for over 10 years and a full-time swing trader for the last 5. In August of 2024, I welcomed my first child into the world. To build his financial foundation, I funded a $100,000 account for him, which I'm growing using a personalized 60-40 portfolio approach. This channel will document that journey. My goal is to create educational content so that one day my son can learn how I grew his account and apply it himself one day. To follow the portfolio's every move, check the link in the description below. I attach it to a website that tracks every trade. Drop your questions or thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys along the way. Cheers. All right, so portfolio's sitting at 107,700. Took a nice little hit today, down 0.7%. A little bit more than the market, but yeah, I think because it was June expiration, and I've got a lot of options that expired, and we're going to be selling new ones next week, so we're looking forward to that. But yeah, let's go check out some of the stocks, the biggest gainers and the biggest losers of the day, and I'll tell you guys about some changes I made to the portfolio and what we're going to do moving forward. So let's take a look at the top gainers. Yeah, we had Innodata up, which is a pretty particular stock. I was looking for it to kind of rally here, because, or maybe someone's buying this, I don't know, because it should be down today, but it was actually up a lot, which is interesting. LEU, that thing was up 15% earlier in the day. We actually sold about 30% of that position off, because we're up a lot on that thing, and it was looking really climactic. I'll go over the TA later in the video about that one, but yeah, what a great move on that one. So started selling that. Moderna is finally starting to come back up, so hopefully that one works out. And then some of these income funds, right? I got this Aberdeen Standard Global Infrastructure. This is kind of like an EU play, and then the utility trust, which has just been great. These things just go straight up every day. So and they yield about 7 to 12%. So those are good yielders and good performers. Let's go on to the loss side and see what's going on over there. So yeah, apps was that big move that we had earlier. It was up 60% on the day, and now it kind of gave back a lot of that, which is concerning, considering it's like basically the opposite of what I've been saying a lot, where these massive moves on the downside is actually bullish, massive moves on the upside with big volume is bearish. So we're seeing the results of that. We had sold the $8 calls in July, so we're a little bit padded, but yeah, we're gonna have to monitor that. I'll show you guys the chart later on that. And then I guess with all the war stuff going on in the Middle East, Zim is taking a hit. The nuclear stuff is taking a hit, and just general tech in general. The crypto stuff and just everything in general is kind of taking a hit. So yeah, that's basically the portfolio update. So let's go on to the TA section of the video and see what's going on. All right, so what you're looking at here is ticker symbol LEU, Centrus Energy. And man, yeah, we made a great call on this one. We made that video at about 65 bucks. I think our average was like 60 or 70 bucks or something like that, because we had purchased it earlier, and then we made the video around right here. But yeah, that's a massive move. At the highs, it was like 210%. So we sold some at 207 earlier today. Really happy about that sell. We're hanging out with the smart money, right? Because it was up and then essentially got whacked pretty hard here. And if we move this, so we're gonna put our little area, a supply area where smart money's selling, as we can see the volumes coming in. So like that short I made, this is stopping action. So our bet is that LEU is going to go sideways for a while, catch up to this moving average here, because as you can see, it's this green line here is the distance from the yearly moving average, and this red line is the distance from the quarterly moving average. And by all accounts, it's back up to here where it normally should be, extended wise. So it's been here before. It kind of always pulls back here at about 120% away from the yearly moving average. And of course, the price is getting higher, so these numbers, distance from that average, mean more. So it's even more extended, with dollar-wise. So, reasonable place for it to pull back. My bet is that it's going to pull back something like this and go sideways for about 7 months, and then have a nice climactic run. Because I don't think this nuclear stuff is over. It had some good news today with a contract coming in from the government, and so we just decided to take that good news to sell some. We want to sell on good news, we want to buy on bad news. So yeah, that's something we did. Now, I did make another video about how we actually added to the portfolio with that cash, this Array Technologies. Now, I think we were buying at like 780, so it was up on the day, unfortunately. But yeah, we went ahead and sold the $9 call, so we're in it at like about 750. And if it keeps going down, we'll buy back the calls and sell a little further out date, because we're kind of in the sweet spot for selling calls. But I already made that video about Array. I don't need to keep going more into this video about what's going on there. But interesting on InnoData that this stock got hit because people are worrying that Meta revenues were going to affect this stock because it bought some other company that does the same thing, a little bit bigger company. But I was thinking, if these types of companies are getting bought, potentially, these guys are going to get bought. So we have the 50s and the 55 sold on this thing. So yeah, we might have to roll them. But that's a nice one. That's a really good looking one. Let's take a look at apps, because this is something I've been wanting to show you guys. I've been seeing a lot of volume coming in on the downside, and then we're buying them. But this is the time when we got a lot of volume, big candle. This thing was up 60% on the day, and of course that's very bearish. And we're seeing the reaction. This is a bearish reaction. So unlike I remember I was making a video and I was like, okay, these kind of SMR is very bearish because of so much volume. But if it can get above that candle, it's not bearish anymore. As you can see, it stopped right there. I think a lot of people sold on this day, and then they're forced to chase it because they feel FOMO. But in Apps' case, we had that, and it's just taking it all back. So this is not looking too hot here on this stock. So and also if you notice a little bit of a divergence between this moving average, right? So it went here, it made a new high, but it didn't make a higher high on the distance from these moving averages. It made a lower high. So this could potentially be the end for this stock. It could go down a lot. So we're just going to monitor it and just hopefully that it, and considering the market's going to, kind of pull back here, this thing could, if you compare this wave here to this wave here, it's much stronger on the downside, right? It's much stronger. So we're going to watch this really closely. We might get rid of it. We're just going to have to see, because a lot of these stocks that we're in, we're selling calls, but we might have to be a little bit nimble here, because potentially the market could really get, potentially nasty here pretty soon. That's what we're kind of looking at. So one other stock I thought I'd mention, we made a call here that this was going to be bullish, but yeah, someone's here at $11 and they're really heavily selling this Warner Brothers Discovery, just monitoring it. But if this thing can get above $11, I'd be very bullish. So we're looking closely at that one. And then the last thing I want to mention in this video is the miners, okay? Because normally when the market goes down, these tend to outperform. And I'm still quite constructive, on these stocks, because if we compare, let's say, the miners, right, where it made this big move and then it kind of just stuck up here, right? It didn't instantly sell off like apps, okay? Notice the difference, right? If we see this had a nice move and, it was up 130%, and then boom, they take it down 25% in 2 days, very aggressively right off the top. It kind of V's off the top. That's something you kind of look for because people are instantly ready to take that profit, because there's no value up there, and a lot of people got suckered into buying that thing. So there's a lot of stupid money in here that that bought, and so that's what produces this thing. And so now on the miners side, we had a big move, right? This thing is up 50% in a week or so, or 2 weeks, and it's kind of sticking up here. And we have a wick with nice volume here. So potentially, these things are going to start going up again. So looking forward to that going into next week. And then the final thing I'll talk about, I know I said final thing with the miners, but is the Brazilian stocks. We had sold the 15 June calls, so we made some money on those today. And I think this is just trending really nicely. I think it's a safe place to be in Brazil in this market. It seems to be acting very nicely, and it's just trending higher under the surface. So, yeah, everything's working out. So, looking forward to next week. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you on the next video. Oh, if you like the content, please like and subscribe. Hey, people are starting to do it more so, and if you guys like me to check out a stock that you're in, hey, feel free to leave a comment, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and have a great weekend.